you worried that the US might walk away?
Yes, I think it's one of the options that US could put the whole burden into Europe.
Ukraine says it has signed the outline of a minerals deal with the US and that a final deal would also involve an investment fund for the reconstruction of the country. Donald Trump's row with President Zelensky in the White House, you will remember, blew negotiations off track back in February, but it looks like things are back on track. Let's speak to the Ukrainian MP Yulia Klymenko, who is former Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade for Ukraine. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Can you explain to us what has actually been signed? We hear it's an outline of a minerals deal. What does that mean?
Actually, the deal has two parts. One is a memorandum of understanding, what was signed yesterday by our vice minister. Vice prime minister, and actually the real deal will be the largest part, and it will be following the memorandum of understanding. So the memorandum of understanding is just first small step to start dealing and start drafting the main agreement, which should cover a political part and economic part, investment part.
So you say to start to draft that deal, so that hasn't been agreed yet?
No, it's not agreed. It's a very complicated because it should be ratified by both Ukrainian Parliament, Verkhovna Rada, and also Congress of US. So it will be not an easy task to draft the proper agreement and to be ratified without no concerns from both parliaments.
And from a Ukrainian perspective, what is it that Ukraine is willing to essentially give to the US, and what are they wanting in return?
Actually, Ukraine needs a lot of investments for recovery, for rebuilding, and also a lot of investments to run and economy, because we lost, I think, approximately 20% of territory, but we also lost 20% of our industrial capacity. On the eastern and southern part of Ukraine, we had a big and probably the largest part of industrial plants and industrial companies, and now it's destroyed. Actually, what we are looking for investments from not only from US, also from UK, from Europe, to put it into our economy, to minerals, to critical minerals, to the infrastructure, to the railways, to the port infrastructure, and many other things. So we are looking, first of all, for investments. We are looking also from the political part for the security guarantees. We do need to understand how we will have a lasting peace. So for that, we need security guarantees, as well as we need to clear understanding that it will be not just, so to say, just digging our minerals, but we also need jobs created in Ukraine, so all our people can come back, all our refugees, over 7 million people in Europe and in UK and in the US can get back home and have a job and have a home, actually, to live.
And is this deal widely supported amongst Ukrainian society? I know it's difficult to ask every single person, but generally, are people happy that this deal is being signed? They think it's a fair deal?
I think we don't have the final text of the deal. That's the main concern. So I think Ukrainians are okay with the memorandum of understanding signed yesterday, but everybody would like to see and understand what will be inside the final deal of investment fund and, so to say, political deal. We have to understand it. And before people will see and analyze this text and this agreement, I don't think you can get the answer. Ukrainians happy or not. Ukrainians definitely happy with investments, will be happy with investments, growing economy and jobs. That's our priority.
And do you feel that there has been a repairing of the relationship between Donald Trump and President Zelensky? When we cast our mind back to the Oval Office meeting in February, clearly a really fractious meeting. Do you feel that relationship's been repaired? And do you feel that by signing this deal, it means the US will put greater pressure on Putin to make concessions?
I think it's a halfway. I don't think the relations fully repaired. Still, President Trump and Zelensky trying to, to comment each other, but I think it's a halfway of repair relations between nations, between U.S. and Ukraine. We had very good relations for many years, and we shouldn't lose it. So actually, I think it will open a door to more constructive discussion with the U.S., particularly in, I think, on the security side, on the buying weapon, etc., etc. But I think the more pressure for Russia, it's just a parallel track, unfortunately, and we don't see it yet. But we should see, because Putin definitely doesn't want peace. You see, every day we have killed civilians. He is doing it very cynically, and he is killing people, killing kids and civilian people every day. So no ceasefire, no any kind of war stopping, ending from Putin's side, unfortunately.
Can I just ask you, the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has just said in the last few minutes that the US will stop trying to broker a peace deal between Ukraine, and Russia unless there are clear signs of progress. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is that we want to see progress from Putin's side. We stop from our side, we stop all strikes on energy infrastructure of Russia, as we agreed.
But do you worry that the US might walk away?
Yes, I think it's one of the options that U.S. could put the whole burden into Europe and European continent. It's one, I think, of the risks that we can have in future, because clearly there is not a clear and quick perspective of a peace deal from Russia's side, and I think everybody understood it in the past few months.
Yulia, thank you for speaking to us this morning. I'm grateful to you for your time. That's Yulia Klymenko, who is a Ukrainian MP and former Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Economic Development. So the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying in the last few minutes, hinting at really that the US is prepared to walk away from the peace talks between Ukraine and Russia if there is a feeling that a deal cannot be struck. Hearing there immediately Ukrainian reaction saying it would be really worrying if the US walked away and it was left just to Europe to try and broker that peace deal. We'll continue to get reaction to that throughout the course of the programme.
I think it's important to remind everybody that the Ukraine war is a terrible thing, but it's not our war. We didn't start it. The United States has been helping Ukraine over the last 3 years, and we want it to end. And so we've talked about outlines of both sides. I thought we had positive meetings yesterday. Obviously, the Ukrainians have to go back home. They have to run it by their president. They have to take into account, their views on all of this, and we hope to hear back from them very soon. This is important, but there are a lot of other really important things going on that deserve just as much, if not more, attention. What we're talking about here is avoiding thousands and thousands of people from dying over the next year. We're trying to avoid that. So if they're serious about peace, either side or both, we want to help. If it's not going to happen, then we're just going to move on.